In the cutthroat world of corporate ambition, loyalty is often fleeting. Companies strive for dominance, pushing boundaries, and sometimes, pushing their own people too far. But what happens when an employee, once a cog in the machine, is cast aside? What if that dismissed individual possesses not just resentment, but also the keys to a company's darkest secrets, or the strategic brilliance to dismantle it from the outside? The consequences, as history has shown, can be catastrophic, leading to the collapse of empires and the loss of billions. This is not merely about disgruntled workers, it's about a specific brand of corporate destruction, one meticulously planned and executed by those who intimately understood the vulnerabilities of their former employers. We delve into real, documented cases where fired employees, fueled by a potent mix of principle and personal slight, became architects of unprecedented damage. Their actions didn't just cause a ripple, they triggered tidal waves, washing away fortunes, reputations, and entire corporate legacies. Let's explore 5 such stories. Our first story takes us to Houston, Texas, in the early 2000s, to the sprawling headquarters of Enron, once America's 7th largest company. It was a titan of energy trading, lauded for its innovation, yet beneath the shiny facade, a deeply unethical culture was festering. Sharon Watkins, a vice president for corporate development, was a loyal employee who had risen through the ranks. But in the summer of 2001, her loyalty was tested, as she uncovered a web of financial deceit that defied belief and threatened to unravel everything. Watkins meticulously documented her findings: complex off-balance sheet partnerships designed to hide billions in losses and inflate profits. In August 2001, she penned an anonymous memo to CEO Kenneth Lay, warning that Enron was an accounting fraud that would implode in a wave of accounting scandals. Her warnings were met with dismissiveness and a corporate culture steeped in denial. Though not directly fired for the memo, Watkins was marginalized, facing an untenable position as her concerns were ignored. Just months after Watkins' ignored pleas, Enron's house of cards began to tumble. The SEC launched an investigation, credit ratings plummeted, and investor confidence evaporated. By December 2001, Enron filed for the largest bankruptcy in U.S. history at the time. The financial fallout was immense. 20,000 employees lost their jobs, many seeing their pensions and life savings vanish overnight. Shareholders lost over $70 billion. Watkins' prescient warnings, once dismissed, became the tragic blueprint of corporate greed and catastrophic failure. Our next story features Daniel S. Drew, a brilliant, albeit abrasive, investment banker at Merrill Lynch in the early 1990s. Drew was a powerhouse in the mortgage-backed securities market, generating millions for the firm. However, his unconventional methods and rebellious spirit often clashed with the rigid corporate culture of the Wall Street giant. The tension steadily mounted between Drew's aggressive profit-seeking and Merrill Lynch's institutional conservatism, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation. In 1996, the conflict culminated in Drew's firing from Merrill Lynch. The exact reasons were shrouded in corporate euphemisms like differences in management philosophy, but the underlying truth was a clash of personalities and principles. For many, this would have been a career setback. For Drew, it was the genesis of a meticulously planned financial vendetta. He vowed not just to succeed, but to do so at Merrill Lynch's direct expense, leveraging his intimate knowledge of its operations and vulnerabilities. Drew founded his own hedge fund, Third Point Management. He became infamous for his activist investing style, targeting companies he believed were mismanaged. But his most audacious move came years later, in the build-up to the 2008 financial crisis. Knowing Merrill Lynch's deep exposure to the crumbling subprime mortgage market, Drew orchestrated a massive short position against his former employer. He was betting billions that Merrill Lynch's stock would collapse, a bet informed by his years inside the institution. Drew's gamble paid off spectacularly. As the financial crisis engulfed Wall Street, Merrill Lynch found itself on the brink of collapse, its stock value plummeting. In September 2008, it was forced into a desperate sale to Bank of America for a mere $50 billion, a fraction of its former valuation. While Bank of America would later incur massive losses from the acquisition, Drew's hedge fund made hundreds of millions, possibly even billions, from its short positions. He profited directly and massively from the downfall of the company that fired him, a testament to long-game revenge. Next, we turn to the cutthroat world of autonomous vehicles and the bitter legal battle between Waymo, Google's self-driving car project, and Uber. At the heart of it was Anthony Lewandowski, a charismatic and brilliant engineer. Lewandowski had been a key player in Google's self-driving project for years, leading critical innovations. But by late 2015, driven by ambition and a desire for more control, he began planning his departure, a move that would ignite one of Silicon Valley's most notorious trade secret wars. In January 2016, Lewandowski abruptly resigned from Waymo. Just weeks later, he co-founded Otto, a self-driving truck startup. By August, Uber acquired Otto for a reported $680 million, placing Lewandowski at the helm of Uber's autonomous driving division. Waymo quickly accused Lewandowski of downloading 14,000 confidential files, including critical LiDAR technology designs, just before his departure. They alleged he had effectively stolen their intellectual property, taking it directly to their burgeoning competitor, Uber. Waymo sued Uber in February 2017, claiming patent infringement and trade secret misappropriation. The ensuing legal battle was vicious, dragging Uber's reputation through the mud and revealing a chaotic corporate culture. Though the case never went to a full jury verdict, Uber ultimately settled with Waymo in February 2018 for $245 million in stock. Lewandowski was eventually fired by Uber and later faced federal charges, pleading guilty to stealing trade secrets. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison, a testament to the severe consequences of his actions. Our fourth case exposes the spectacular downfall of Theranos, a Silicon Valley startup once valued at $9 billion, founded by the charismatic Elizabeth Holmes. Theranos promised a revolutionary blood testing technology that could run hundreds of tests from a single drop of blood. Among the bright-eyed young recruits drawn to this vision was Erica Chung, a recent college graduate who joined Theranos as a lab assistant in 2013. She soon found herself immersed in a corporate environment that prioritized secrecy over science. Chung quickly observed deep systemic problems. The proprietary Edison machines were unreliable, often failing quality control. Instead of fixing them, Theranos executives allegedly manipulated data and used commercial machines for testing, contradicting their public claims. Haunted by ethical concerns and the potential for patient harm, Chung, along with colleague Tyler Schultz, voiced her worries internally. Their concerns were dismissed, and they faced immense pressure and intimidation, ultimately leading to their departure from the company. Unable to stay silent, Chung and Schultz bravely became whistleblowers, providing crucial information to Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou. Their detailed accounts, combined with other sources, formed the basis of a series of explosive articles beginning in October 2015 that exposed Theranos' fraudulent practices. The public revelations triggered investigations by federal agencies, leading to massive investor lawsuits and criminal charges against Holmes and her COO, Sunny Balwani. The company that promised to revolutionize healthcare instead collapsed under a mountain of deceit. By 2018, Theranos was officially dissolved, and its once soaring $9 billion valuation evaporated completely. Elizabeth Holmes was convicted of fraud in January 2022 and sentenced to over 11 years in prison. Sunny Balwani also received a prison sentence. The whistleblowers, Erica Chung and Tyler Schultz, played an instrumental role in bringing down a company built on deception, protecting countless potential patients, and ensuring justice for defrauded investors. Their courage ultimately cost Theranos everything. Finally, we turn to the world of accounting and a scandal that rocked one of the Big Four firms, KPMG. In the early 2000s, KPMG was deeply involved in creating and marketing aggressive, and ultimately illegal, tax shelters for wealthy clients. Frank Butler, a tax partner at KPMG, grew increasingly uncomfortable with the ethical implications and legality of these schemes. He understood the intricate details of these complex financial products and knew they pushed far beyond legitimate tax planning, into the realm of evasion. Butler's internal objections to the tax shelters were met with resistance and ultimately led to his firing from KPMG in 2002. Like many whistleblowers, he was ostracized for challenging the company's lucrative, albeit illicit, practices. Feeling a moral obligation and having witnessed the blatant disregard for the law, Butler decided to blow the whistle. He provided crucial information to federal investigators and the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, exposing the inner workings of KPMG's controversial tax practices. Butler's disclosures ignited a massive federal investigation into KPMG's tax shelters. In 2005, KPMG entered into a Deferred Prosecution Agreement (DPA) with the Justice Department, admitting to criminal wrongdoing in designing, marketing, and implementing fraudulent tax shelters. As part of the DPA, KPMG agreed to pay a staggering $456 million in fines and penalties, and overhaul its tax practices. This was a direct financial hit caused by the revelations of a former partner who refused to remain silent. Beyond the monumental fines, KPMG suffered significant reputational damage, losing clients and facing intense scrutiny. The scandal also led to the indictment of several former KPMG partners and executives, underscoring the severity of the firm's misconduct. Frank Butler, despite facing personal and professional challenges, emerged as a key figure in holding a powerful corporation accountable. His actions cost KPMG hundreds of millions and forced a major shift in how the firm, and indeed the entire industry, approached tax advisory services. These stories serve as stark reminders that the power dynamics in the corporate world are not always what they seem. A single dismissed employee, armed with knowledge, courage, or strategic cunning, can become an unstoppable force, capable of dismantling the very foundations of a company. From multi-billion-dollar bankruptcies to crippling lawsuits and massive regulatory fines, the financial consequences of underestimating a wronged former employee are often catastrophic. The cases of Sharon Watkins, Daniel S. Strew, Anthony Lewandowski, Erica Chung, and Frank Butler illustrate an enduring lesson: corporate leaders ignore internal warnings and ethical boundaries at their peril. The wealth and power accumulated over decades can vanish in an instant, brought down by the very people once integral to the company's operations. Their narratives are cautionary tales, cementing the fact that corporate revenge, when wielded by those who know the system best, can indeed destroy an empire.